My name is Florrie Usatch. I was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 1981.
I am Patricia Scott Beach, and I was diagnosed in February of 1995.
My name is Kate Connors. I was diagnosed at 38 years old in 1997.
My name's Antoinette Westphal, and I was first diagnosed in March of 1995.
I had just finished my college education, having returned to college when my children were in school full-time, and I was looking into a career, and then I was diagnosed.
My mother had breast cancer 2 years before I had breast cancer, and I had gone through everything with her. And when I went in for my mammogram, and they called me with the results and asked me to come back so that they could take another picture to make sure that what they were seeing was accurate.
Because my life was so ideal, otherwise, you just never picture yourself being the victim of something as awful as cancer. You always imagine it's going to happen to someone who's older or who smoked or, had lived a full life. I was right in the middle of sort of being the luckiest person on earth, I had felt.
I remember going into my car and sitting there and thinking, okay, you've been diagnosed with breast cancer. It's a fearful thing. You can dissolve and fall apart, or you can pick yourself up and face it and do what you have to do. So I drove my car home and went about my business.
I first initially found out about living beyond breast cancer when I had interviewed with Marisa Weiss. Of course, she was lovely and compassionate, and I knew I wanted her on my team. And I remember in January, it was just about a year after my diagnosis, receiving one of the newsletters. And the newsletter was so overwhelming and so helpful and really made me feel like I had a home.
The first program of Living Beyond Breast Cancer that I attended was their seasonal conference. And I walked into the room, and the first effect on me was dismay, frankly. I mean, here is a room full of people all having breast cancer.
There were two of my friends who recommended me to become a part of the focus group that produced the book African Americans Getting Connected. And I participated in the focus groups over a number of months, and the book was a result of that.
I thought, wow, how many people does this disease affect? And then as the program proceeded, I thought, what a wonderful venue, what a wonderful thing this group does to bring these people together and give them the hope that they need.
I picked up the phone. I didn't even finish reading the newsletter. I went, picked up the phone, and asked, whatever you guys need, I'm here. I'd really like to be able to provide additional support and touch people the way that you've already touched me.
I have been involved in about 3 other major kinds of events with Living Beyond Breast Cancer, where we spoke to a group of African Americans about our experience.
Well, I'm on call a designated week of the month, and I receive calls 7 days a week during that time. The calls can come from all over the country, from women with different concerns, ranging from initial diagnoses, treatments, even some personal problems that they've had to deal with through their treatments.
My husband Tyrone and I participated in this seminar, which happened to be the 6th anniversary of my surgery.
I offered my services as a volunteer and tried to provide whatever service that I could. Some of us are better at some things and some are better at others. And I was asked to chair a major event, which I gratefully did.
When you walk into the office, in the Living Beyond Breast Cancer office, you're immediately surrounded by the most wonderful young women that are responsible for keeping the organization afloat. It feels like home.
The LBBC staff has allowed me to have a cache of books in the trunk of my car So I've run into people in restaurants, and I've run to the car to get some books. We've taken them to high school reunions and distributed them. We've taken them to family reunions. And because we've talked about them so much, people know that we have them. And so we pass them out wherever we go so that we can help other people.
One of the most amazing things I realized about the Young Survivors Conference, it hit home how fortunate we were to have Living Beyond Breast Cancer right in our very own backyard. The last conference was held in Philadelphia, and it generated close to 500 young women, some of them coming from as far away as California and Canada and Texas. And I thought, oh my goodness, we have this right here. Not only this wonderful organization, but also all the support, and it was a good feeling.
I always knew that I was close to my husband, Jerry, but I never realized how good our marriage was. All the years that we've been building on the foundations of this good marriage really came to light and made our marriage even stronger.
My husband, Tyrone, was and has been my primary support. On the day of the surgery, he even spent the night with me in the room, and the nurses said this is a very unusual request.
My husband, Ray, definitely was a major part. He supported my decision, but he helped me every inch of the way. I mean, he called and made appointments for consultations. He went with me everywhere I needed to go. In the end, he supported what I decided I needed to do.
The people at the time of my diagnosis that were most helpful to me were my neighborhood, and my immediate family were amazing. Definitely my husband, Kevin, and my two daughters, Shannon and Riley, who were 2.5 and 1 at the time. They were definitely my inspiration and my hope and my hugs on a regular basis, which is really what you need to sort of get up out of bed and face what you have to face every day.
My children were there for me every day. My friends were there every day. So I was surrounded by a lot of love and caring.
I had 2 sons in college at the time, and I think they took their cue from my husband and from me. They were there and they watched, and I think they learned a thing or two about male-female relationships and how it is important for husbands and wives to be supportive of each other and to work together.
I would wake up every morning and say, I have cancer. And every morning my phone would ring, and one of my siblings, one of my children, some family member would be there bringing me back into the reality of just living, and that was most helpful.
For the last 21 years, I have had 4 separate diagnoses of breast cancer. Because it's so much a part of my life, and I realize how fortunate I am, it's given me an avenue to reach out to all these women. I wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for Living Beyond Breast Cancer.
Being involved in the campaign against breast cancer, in the fight against breast cancer, validates the entire experience, and it gives you an empowerment that breast cancer has tried to take from you.
It is so easy to let the house go and to just enjoy life and to be with each other and to reach out to other folks, to help them to understand what's important and what's not important. And I always say to people that I'm just glad to be here because I didn't have to be.
One of the things I learned during my diagnoses and treatment was the need to really take care of ourselves and take care of other people. I have 2 young daughters and I have 17 nieces. And I need to know that I'm leaving the world a better place because they're in it, and it's very satisfying. I think there's a lot of healing that takes place by giving back to an organization that's been so helpful for you.